Why, hello, my circus squad, friends, allies, and fellow followers. It is my utmost pleasure to gather you all here today to celebrate me, us, our legacy, and 1 whole year since we stoned those witches. My dear snakes, my reign on this canvas remains, with my power building and my empire expanding. Tonight is a night of celebration. I think this party calls for a toast. Cobra, go fetch me a drink. I'm thirsty. Here's to new awakenings and an electrifying night.
They not like us. 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 They not like us.
Hello and welcome to another theme park video. Here I'm talking about Thorpe Park and Fright Nights. So I kind of had a day off, a Friday off, and went down hoping that it would be a little bit quieter, as I assumed that kids would be at school, but actually it turns out there was an inset day, so I didn't get the quiet experience, but I did get to see all of the theming of Halloween and all of that sort of stuff, which I thought was excellent throughout the park. Also, it was a lot later, so it sort of still had a 10 o'clock opening, but right through till 9 p.m, so you get to see all the rides in the dark, which was really cool as well. So I started off on Hyperia. I did actually go to Legoland on the way there, so I didn't arrive until sort of lunchtime, and the queue was already sort of an hour or just over an hour, and the single rider queue wasn't a lot shorter, to be fair. It was about sort of 45 minutes, but worth doing. So the single rider queue often is a quicker way of getting on the ride if you don't mind being split up, if you're in a group or if you're on your own. So I was on row 2, a couple of people in front of me, they had done it about 10 times. I wasn't really sure about that because they'd bought a kind of a fast track pass, cost them hundreds of pounds. I mean, it's really expensive, but this idea of queues and queue jumping, so I'd done the single rider queue and shaved like 15 minutes off, but obviously they'd just been able to go round and round and round and do 10 goes on Hyperia, but it does sort of mean that everyone else is queuing a lot longer, so I don't know that this kind of paid queue jumping is really great for the park, if I'm honest. So yeah, there was quite a lot of queues. You really had to kind of pick your rides, but as long as you sort of mixed it up and there was kind of shows and theming and just like watching rides, it wasn't too bad, to be fair.
Best friends. riders must be a minimum of 1.4 metres and a maximum of 1.96 metres tall to run.
Like with Alton Towers Scarefest, there's a lot of kind of upcharged attractions called scare zones and sort of scare mazes, so you can kind of pay to have these extra experiences. It didn't. I was hoping that at 3 o'clock it would get a little bit less busy, the kind of the main rides, as people went into the scare mazes, but it actually got busier and busier all throughout the nights. But it wasn't too bad. I actually ended up going on Ghost Train, which was one of the rides.
They may get close, but they will never touch you. Passengers are advised Thorpe Rail.
Didn't actually open till 3 o'clock as well, so I don't quite know if that was just to line it up with the scare attractions, but it was basically a free scare attraction, and for me it was just as good as what I imagine a scare maze is, because it had the jump scares and it had actors and stuff, so it was really fun. And you know, it wasn't like terrifying, but it was kind of, yeah, it was frightening enough. It did end up being a kind of 45-minute queue for that as well, so they're, you know, pretty long queues, but not too bad. More than I hoped for, but certainly not as bad as it can be. So the Swarm was absolutely amazing. It's kind of themed Halloween-like anyway, but that was just sort of just before dusk, and you could see at 3 o'clock all of the kind of actors coming out for sort of jump scares and stuff. So after 3 o'clock, it does get sort of quite a lot more upbeat music, sort of Halloween-y rock, and yeah, so you can kind of get the vibe changing. Yeah, I thought it was really good. So yeah, in the dark, the rides looked absolutely fantastic. So it's just worth walking around and just kind of having a little look round. That the music does change from 3 o'clock, so it's sort of a bit more sort of upbeat and sort of scary, haunting. Yeah, so don't plan to relax after 3 o'clock.
Good evening, wanderers of the boulevard, and welcome to Purgatory. When twilight falls, the veil grows thin, and sometimes just...
It was great to see some performances. I know that Merlin cut the budget for a lot of kind of actors at kind of all of their attractions, and it was just nice to see some sort of live entertainment, some sort of dance shows, fire show. Yeah, I thought they were really good and really adds to the kind of capacity and just breaks it up so you can kind of sort of sit and watch a show and then go in a queue for a big ride and then sort of maybe do a filler ride, like I did Detonator and I did Rush, which was you know little rides that kind of take 10-15 minutes to get on, which is is nice. As long as you mix it up, then a 1 or 2 or 3 big queues is absolutely fine.
Stop.
Why, hello, my serpent squad, friends, allies, and devoted followers. It is my utmost pleasure to gather you all here today to celebrate me, us, our legacy, and 1 whole year since we stoned those witches. My dear snakes, my reign on this canvas remains, with my power building and my empire expanding. Tonight is a night of celebration. I think this party calls for a toast. Umbrella, go fetch me a drink. I'm thirsty. Here's to new awakenings and an electrifying night.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
So Hyperia at the end of the day in the dark was a 90-minute queue. Obviously everyone was keen to get on that in the dark, but just beside it was Colossus just waiting there, which was beautiful and lit up, and it was sort of 15-minute queue. I think it probably ended up being about 20 minutes, but you know, nowhere near as long. And the queue line is absolutely stunning, really. You can see the smoke effects and the lighting effects, and it's a decent ride. It's a 10 loop. I think coaster was kind of record breaking at the time it came out. Little bit kind of cramped the car, but certainly not as sort of smooth as Hyperia, but you know, definitely a great experience, and you know, an alternative to waiting all that time in a queue line. I thought it was great. So for me, I'd already been on Hyperia. Watching Hyperia go round in the dark was fine, and then getting on a couple of night rides was great. So overall, I thought it was a great experience. Really happy it was included in my annual pass. So yeah, really top marks to Merlin for this sort of scare attraction. So if you're going over half term, I do recommend it. Yeah, just be prepared for long queues. Stagger it a bit, and sort of like, you know, don't just do long queue after long queue. Mix it with some shorter rides, watching some of the shows and stuff, and I'm sure you'll have a great time. So enjoy it. Okay, bye bye.